This is a B6 S4 4.2 litre V8 naturally aspirated engine, and as you can see, I've removed the engine. And I've removed the engine because we need to replace the rocker cover gaskets, but we also need to replace the timing chains, which are located at the back of the engine. So as you can imagine, there's quite a lot of work to do to be able to replace the chains. So step one, remove the engine. Then we need to take the subframe off, take the wiring off, take the exhausts off, take the gearbox off, take the intake manifold off, and then we can get down to the rear timing covers. But as you can see, this S4 looks pretty similar to every other S4 on the road, unless someone has put some money into it or really looked after it over the years. But it's going to happen at some point, and today is this wonderful grey S4's turn to be stripped apart. There's not much to say about the condition of the car. It's an old car, I guess, so it's a little bit rusty. Yeah, maybe once upon a time, when the value of these cars might go up, someone will put some money and effort into maybe restoring this car, like fully. But that's not what we're doing in this video. In this video, we're going to be concentrating on the timing chains. We're also going to be resealing the middle of the V. We're probably going to have to reseal the oil cooler because that's leaking, as you can see. The sump, front main seal, that will have to be resealed as well. And anything else that we find along the way. For example, this engine mount, which fell apart once I unbolted it from the chassis. It just fell apart. I can't do too much about that. But it does look like someone has already replaced these in the past, because these are not the correct engine mounts for this engine. Because if I can find the evidence, I found the evidence. So this is the plug from the original engine mount, and as you can see, someone has just put some generic engine mounts on there, and they're not specific to this car. So maybe that's why they have failed so prematurely. Well, I'm not really sure when the owner had them replaced, but anyway, I think we can begin stripping all the wiring down, take the exhausts off, and work our way towards those timing chains. Wiring is off. Time to remove the exhausts next. And hopefully these bolts and studs don't snap.
No, odpadol lift z toho, 12 Y. Prvú vec, čo by som spravil, vedieť tesnenie na crankshaft seal vpredu. To je prvá vec. Druhá vec je tam bezaujímavý drive. Expensive, moving, fire the engineers. So if you can find it just straight away, then take it.
Easy. So the gearbox is off. I've got the engine on this little trolley, and now I can begin taking off all of these cooling pipes that wrap around the whole of the engine. And then we need to remove the rock covers so that we're able to lock the camshafts. To lock the crankshaft, there's just there, you need to take that plug out, and then you need a special pin to thread in there and lock the crankshaft. Obviously we need to take off the clutch and flywheel. It does look like this has been replaced before with the LUK clutch, but we'll see. Make sure that there's plenty of life left on the friction plate. As you can see, there's loads of oil leaks everywhere, but when I'm putting it back together, I'll clean everything up. And then we'll also be taking off the intake manifold. That's just held on with all of those Allens on the outside, all the way around on both sides. So yeah, loads more stripping to do. So we have one broken guide. We use this pin.
We're going clockwise?
You need to go
This way.
the other way.
Other way. Sure?
Yeah. And you got a bit.
So the best timing ever in. That one go easier. Watch out. Can you send me the picture? This diamond coated. 41 euros. Okay. Yeah, that will be like we buy the rest of them. And good business, that's what we're doing.
This one's starting to break in the corner. Yes.
Že podívej sa preletiť do Senice na Šmeláku, že bude sranda, ne? Ale to som ti chcel povedať, že celá príhoda toho je, že som skoro ty kokot pojebaný. No na zajebanie, kámo, hej, proste. Ti kopne dopýta ľavo vpravo, stratíš orientáciu, začneš točiť ľavo vpravo, hore brukom, dole brukom, asi tyčí zajebaný. Potom sme tam sedeli kokot do 4. pobede ako ciciny do celý čas silo mohol letieť naspäť, som hovoril kokot, ja jedem brácho naspäť do nulového horizontu, či si jebe? To bolo len šťastie, že sme dokázali preletieť do tých.
Not too bad actually.
Nič, tu budeme sedieť do nične, ústové motory, prúdové motory, hydraulické systémy, aerodynamiku,
This one's a bit more worn.
zapustené, odpustené, koľko má byť vzdialenosť, koľko môže byť, nemôže byť, aká hĺbka, aký hit, na čo môže ísť, nemôže ísť. Také veci zaujímavé. No akože robota, akože škola bola po piči. Na tú školu väčšinou 90% ľudí išlo kvôli tomu rýchlo baviť.
Now I better take off the oil pump train. This bracket is a bit of a pain to take off. Pretty worn out. This has a gasket.
What's TPS here? Yeah. Where? What are you doing? What are you doing? Oh boy, I've got a job for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Q5 first, anyways, because I think that will be quicker. In my opinion. Nie, że tam jest wyrażenie nogi, mogło jest trochę fajnie.
So, gotta take the sump off to clean it out.
Jeden bude podľa mňa prečerpadlo, aby neťahalo dole, a druhý bude počerpadlo, aby nešlo do neho čerpadla. Aspoň ide ten kríž do dole, nie je sa prejsť.
Supposed to have diamond washers, just like that. One here.
Kdyby si koukal na nějaký to video, jak se to tomu dají na převodovka.
Koukám, tak daleko som sa nedostal.
So I've got to clean everything.
Hotel Sierra. Yeah, boy, it's a lion. Yeah, boy, I'm trying to go then and tell me. Oh, diesel. For petrol. Nah, probably very hard.
Five plus 90.
Unfortunately, on the other side of the building. So yeah. Okay, I've got the message. I remember which one now. I'm going to sort out a few things. Evening time.
40.
I'm ready for pancake. Okay. Right, I'm leaving you guys.
10 millimeters.
Oh, I'm gonna make a phone call first. Actually, good idea. Intro. Oh, too late. That's what I'm saying.
So, at the bottom plate, we have the pin that goes in there. That locks it. So, does the phasing. This pin goes in there. And that basically goes, and that locks into place. Two gaskets, spring and a clip. Bit of fresh oil. I don't remember if they're both the same, or one is bigger than the other. One is bigger than the other. The question is, say The bigger one goes. Oh, come on. That's a smaller one, bigger one will go there. Just like that. This one will go into there. Need to put this piece in. Plunger, spring, cap. This will only go one way. Like so. That's good. Our top piece. Moves nicely. Okay. One is complete. Don't think that they'd understand.
Philip, I'm not sure if you noticed, but I'm still holding it.
So carry on.
Carry on holding it because I'm doing a story upload. Very dangerous grunts, Philip.
Why?
Because you're fucking gonna hit me.
Why would I do that?
Well, I'm asking the same question, but...
Deek. 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 So, tell me what you think. Do you think it's over-engineered or over-complicated? Maybe you think it's some kind of art? Maybe that's what Audi was going for. I think it looks pretty cool. 4 timing chains. But it's time to put all the rear timing covers back on, and then we can move on to reassembling the rock covers with the new gaskets. Ow. In the middle of the V is resealed. It's just 1 big gasket and 3 oil check valves. And now I can move on to taking the alternator off. We need to take the tensioner off. We need to also take this little mounting off as well. I've got to take the front pulley off as well, because we're going to be replacing the front crankshaft seal. And we also have to remove the water pump because we'll be refurbishing that as well. Turned into plastic. Whoa. So, for the water pump, this is what we have to do, because we can no longer buy the whole water pumps like these with thermostat and water pump all in one unit. This is the last one ever made. So what we have to do is, it's going to be easy if I show you, like here. So the housing, I'm gonna unbolt everything. I'm gonna take out the thermostat. I'm gonna clean the housing in the aqua blast machine, and then we're going to be replacing the water pump. The thermostat we can no longer get, so we're going to have to reuse that one. But we do have new seals for all of the pipes and the housing as well, so that's the best we can do. So everything's nice and clean. Aquablast does a pretty good job. It's not brand new, but it looks a lot better. Got all the seals, new water pump. I've got to fit the old thermostat back into the housing and then get everything back together. Yep. We have the Marley engine mounts on. Unfortunately, they don't make the factory ones anymore, the OEM spec. They stopped making them a whole year ago. I've got the gearbox on, exhausts are on. I've given the subframe a quick wash just to get the oil off it. So now I'm going to put the subframe on, and I'm going to get the whole drivetrain onto this trolley, and then start putting the intake manifold on, all the cooling pipes, the EGR system on the back as well, and yeah, get it built back up. So the engine is looking nice and clean, especially that water pump. So the only thing left to do is put the front end back on so I can connect the radiator, and especially need to connect the power steering cooler lines, because once I start cranking the engine it will start shooting power steering fluid out of those lines. So AC is regassed with no leaks, so I can put the bumper back on. I still need to put the plastics on up there. Need to put the wheels on, obviously, and then we can hit the roads. So we're on the road in the S4. It's done. It's finally off the ramp. It's been on the ramp for probably just under 2 weeks, I think. I have been doing a couple of other jobs in between because we were waiting for some of the gaskets, but it's back on its wheels, it's back on the road, and it's driving, and it's got upgraded RS4 guides inside of there, so should be alright. Originally the owner did book it in for just a prevention, so as you saw, one of the brackets was broken and the timing was out, and there wasn't any kind of rattling coming from the engine to indicate that there's a problem. There wasn't any fault codes in the ECU to say that there's something wrong, so you just never know, really. But to be honest, that is a pretty common problem for that plastic guide to break, and to be honest, you can't really fault it because it is plastic. It's old, it starts to get brittle, and in the morning when there's no oil pressure, or maybe you've left the car for a couple of days, and when you start it up for the first time, the oil pressure isn't there right from the start, so the chain starts to slap a little bit, and I think that's what causes the guides to break. But we have put in the upgraded RS4 guides in there, so hopefully they'll last a little bit longer, because they are from metal and they only have a little bit of plastic for the chain to ride on. So yeah, from that standpoint, timing should be good. Oh, and we also reconditioned the adjusters, the intake phasers. So we just saw the lock-in pin for the adjuster to lock into place was worn a little bit, but to be honest, they weren't worn that bad. I have seen them worn quite a lot more, but it's better to just get everything done once everything is out, and then you have a peace of mind knowing that the car will be good for a couple of years at least, and a couple more 1,000 miles. All in all, we done timing chains, obviously, the adjusters resealed in the middle of the V, oil cooler was resealed, sump was resealed, water pump was reconditioned, you can call it. What else? I think that's about it, really. But one thing that you can definitely tell when I'm driving the car, the suspension arms are a little bit worn, and the owner does know about that, and as soon as he gets the car back, he will be doing his own suspension refresh. So yeah, that'll be sorted as well. If the owner is watching, I hope you are happy with the final result. I have cleaned up as many parts as I possibly can to make it look as fresh as possible, and I think it looks pretty good, so I hope you'll be happy as well. If you do own one of these cars with the same 4.2 and you want to get the chains replaced, or you've got a rattling coming from the engine, then give us a call, you can book it in. But one thing to keep in mind, some of the parts are going obsolete, especially for, all around the engine, the parts are no longer being made. So we have bought out a lot of stock from the UK and Europe, and then after all of those parts have been used, then the only option you have is to go for something worse quality and aftermarket, which isn't really ideal, but that's what you're gonna have to do eventually. But I think currently we have around 20 timing chain kits in stock, so we're going to be good for quite some time. But I know some people are getting worried that, yeah, maybe not right now they need the timing chains doing, but in a couple of years they want to keep the car, they might not be able to get this kind of service done. So some people are even considering purchasing the timing chain kit from us and keeping it for themselves for whenever they need to get it replaced, which is probably a pretty smart idea. And if you're wondering about the price for the timing chain replacement, I think it's just under £4,000. But if you're curious, give us a call and Thomas will be able to assist you with that. But yeah, that's going to be the end of this video. I hope you found it interesting, especially if you're on one of these cars. You were able to have a closer look at the process of replacing the timing chains. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.